Head high, shoulders square, now get your feet up off the ground. Get ready to shiro up to your shiro squares. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us here for this milestone episode of Shiro's Quest. This year has been one incredible journey, and I'm so grateful for those of you that have been tuning in to us from the start and continue to come back on a monthly basis. I'm also grateful for those of you that are tuning in for the first time today. It has been because of your support and engagement that Shiro's Quest is what it is today. Today, we have a truly inspiring guest who embodies the essence of what Shiro's Quest is all about. Donna J. Blake of New Jersey is here to join us. Donna is the proud mother of KJ, a teenage college-bound honor student who is defying the odds of autism. Every day, KJ is breaking barriers and making strides. Donna's journey as a mother and advocate is no short of extraordinary, and I can't wait for you to listen in to their inspiring story. Please welcome Donna J. Blake to Shiro's Quest.
Thanks, Nita, for having me.
Yeah, diving right in. You are a mother of an autistic young man that has come a long way in his life. What are some of the difficulties that you dealt with at first in learning your son was autistic or going through the diagnosis?
I think some of the difficulties happen to be just in accessing information and what to do going forward. In terms, once your child is diagnosed with autism, I think, in the times past, he was diagnosed in 2012 at the age of 5 with autism. They would give us just kind of like a brief printout and say, these are a couple of resources that you can go into. But in terms of some of the organizations like Autism Speaks were one of them, and then they would give us a couple of books to read regarding autism, but there really was no clear-cut plan or roadmap, so to speak, as to what you need to do to parent a child on the spectrum. So a lot of it was me researching online. A lot of it was getting resources from his school in terms of different events that could benefit him. But like I said at the time, and again, we're talking almost 12, 15 years ago, skills. But at that time, when he was diagnosed in 2012, I do remember the developmental pediatrician saying, she was like, there's no reason that your son will there's no reason why your son won't be able to go to college. Your son will be able to transition and find a job. So even at the tender age of 5, she saw hope, and she gave us hope in terms of what KJ's future could look like.
And that was a lot different from being told that he'd never be able to talk or things of that nature. Yes. And
Correct.
yes. And from there, he went to the special school. Okay.
And so he went to a special.
How long?
He went to a special services school district, and he was in that program from the time he turned 3 till he was 9 years old. So for approximately 6 years.
Okay. And what sort of? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to suggest. I forgot I didn't make mention of this, but toward the time when we were looking to transition him out, I want to say maybe around the age of 8, we noticed that he started progressing a lot better in his special services school. So we thought that, okay, can we put him in a different classroom, even in that specialized school district, where he might be around other kids who were a little bit more vocal, maybe even if it was in a grade or two above him, because we were noticing that at the time, although he was making strides, it's a little bit more difficult and challenging, especially when you have a child who has difficulty communicating when he's in a room with kids who don't communicate or who may be nonverbal and or non-vocal. So that was one of our one of the things that we kind of like laid our hat on with his social worker and with the school district. We were like, can we put him in a different classroom? So when we started talking about that and started trying to move him to maybe like a least restrictive environment, put him in a population, a more of a gen ed population, a position opened up for him, or I should say a slot opened up for him back in our school district in still a disabled classroom, but he would be back in district. So.
Right. And has that been an easy transition for him with different forms of discrimination and things of that nature? Has he come across discrimination at all?
Not that we have seen in terms of discrimination. Now, there was one situation where he did get bullied by another classmate who was also disabled. And I won't say bullied. I should say he had gotten threatened. So by a young man in his classroom who had some serious like home and mental health issues. And although at the time we were very understanding, we were still concerned for his safety. So it was funny. His dad went up there to school after he had gotten threatened. And the teacher had told us, they said it was kind of like he had gotten threatened. We understand that type of thing happens or what have you. So his teacher had told us, like, listen, he's really going through some things on at home. And us being very forgiving and understanding, especially with this type of this population, we were like, that's fine. I think it happened a second time, and the second time was when he said, I'm going to go and physically harm you with a weapon. That's what the kid had said to KJ. So at that point in time, we took it extremely seriously, and Kareem went up to the school, made sure that he was going to escort his son into school every day to make sure that he was safe. And lo and behold, within, I want to say 48 hours, that student was removed. So when we say in terms of, did he didn't really, he did face some challenges, but again, being in tune, being his parents, being his forever advocates, we want to make sure that his learning environment is not only appropriate, but safe for him.
Right. Right. Okay, and now we're looking at this remarkable young man that has done all of this, and he's now in the 12th grade. College is around the corner. What type of resources are out there to help him to make that transition from high school into college? So
there are a few resources here in New Jersey. So there are, his current high school does have an 18 to 21 program where he would be able to transition. There's also services out there where they will actually go over different financial aid for kids who are neurodivergent or who are on the spectrum, and they'll go through with parents and talk about some of the post-secondary options that are available in terms of trade schools, in terms of colleges, accommodations during, for college classes. Right now, we just signed up with a program in New Jersey that we found out from his high school social worker, where they will actually it's almost like an intern. It's an internship where he would be paid for, but they will go over job skills with him. They will go over interviewing skills with him. They will, if he wanted to or needed to, they would be able to provide him with housing. They'll provide him with transportation to and from a job. They will provide him with, a wardrobe allowance if need be for his job. So this was a program, again, that we found out through, his social worker. But again, it's that, not knowing. It's almost like you kind of have to be connected, or you got to ear hustle from time to time to figure out, okay, what opportunities are out there. So that's fortunately, because that was brought to us, we immediately signed up for it. And we're looking to hear back from this organization in the coming weeks on when KJ would be able to start. So that again is going to hopefully push him in the direction of what he wants to do. Right now, we're kind of trying to fine tune what he wants to do. He says he wants to be an actor and a chef and a teacher. So he is taking a college and career exploratory class in high school right now. But
That's
again,
cool.
with the addition of this program that we recently signed up for, we're hoping to fine tune it a little bit more for him.
Now we're talking about KJ and his autism and moving forward in life. How has autism and raising an autistic child, how has that strengthened you or changed you?
Changed and strengthened me in a variety of ways. I have probably, regarding KJ, there's nothing I don't think he can do. And he continues to surprise us day after day. And I think in our previous conversations, I was telling you, all I need, or all he needs, is an opportunity. We will fine tune, we will tweak whatever we need to do in terms to make sure that he gets exposed to different things. Since, oh my goodness, Nita, since having that diagnosis, he has been in he's been in golf workshops where, different golf programs where he's learned how to play golf. He's been in top soccer where he's learning, they're showing kids on the spectrum how to play soccer. Currently in high school, he has been in about 6 to 8 theater productions. He got involved in theater when he started high school. He's in a leadership club. Right now he's trying to he's hoping to get invited into and have the community service hours in order to meet the requirements. So he has been very focused and determined to get the community service hours that he needs in order to become a candidate for National Honor Society. He is in unified clubs. He's involved in Special Olympics. And the thing about KJ is that with these different clubs, it's never anything that I said, oh, KJ, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? It was usually him initiating it and him coming to tell me, Mom, I joined a club. I mean, Mom, I did this. Mom, I did that. Like, I was amazed. And he's confident. He's fearless. And especially, I guess, those things that for me as a parent, I would think, oh goodness, that would scare me. He definitely rises to the occasion in terms of, he will go and get involved in things. Since entering in high school, he's been in 6 to 8 theater productions. He's been on the choir. He's been on the track team. He's been in the leadership club. He got invited to join the National Honor Society last year. He would have got accepted, but his community service hours were low. So did that stop him? No. He ended up joining a community service organization with his high school so that he can most definitely get his hours when he gets invited back, hopefully this year. One of the main things that his father and I are dealing with right now is affording him all those opportunities that a high school senior is going through. And that's one of those things is his senior trip. And again, everything that, every decision that we make for him, he's involved in it. So it's not a situation where we're just arbitrarily, okay, you're going on your senior trip or you're doing this or you're doing that. I know sometimes as parents, we may have to push that, but not for KJ. We will ask him simply, is this something that you want to do? And he'll let us know honestly, unequivocally whether it's something he wants to do or not. And he's very passionate about that. So again, one of the things that we were most concerned about was his senior trip. And we just sat down and had a conversation with him. And he said, yeah, I'd like to go. And so in that, you know, that breeds another conversation that we now have to have with, you know, his school team and, you know, the principal and all the parties that are going to be involved with the senior trip. And we got reassurance when we went to his senior trip meeting a couple of weeks ago. They were like, we've had kids on the spectrum on senior trips before. We'll put together something and we'll work together basically on it. I won't go into huge detail, but they gave us reassurance. They made us feel confident and comfortable that he would be fine and he would be safe on their watch.
Okay. Now, in your own words, explain what the spectrum is, being on the spectrum.
I would say, quite simply, it's just a different way to learn. It's a different way to interact. But I think what needs to happen is that people need to learn how to get into our autistic population's world to bring out their true creativity, to bring out their true personalities. Not a lot of people are willing to do that. Not a lot of people are willing to tolerate it. I also ended up working with kids on the spectrum. So I'm a little bit off kilter and, you know, a little bit crazy because I work with them and I work to get into their world. So I don't have a problem with playing with kids and interacting and being silly or what have you. Sometimes and I've done this with KJ. Sometimes we're imitating his very own actions back to him so that we can, one, show him that, hey, it's comfortable here in your home, but let me show you what you're doing to either, one, let it be a teachable moment, especially now as he's getting older, but also to let him know this is what that looks like and how some people might not be accepting of it. So, you know, that's something we constantly have to work on a daily basis. Him not even continuing to stay in his world, but him learning how to be present, how to continue having, you know, conversations. And I know most parents who have teenagers think, well, most teenagers, you know, are usually in their own world anyway, and, you know, don't typically talk. Well, we do. We debunk that. We have regular conversations. We have dinner almost, you know, regularly every night. And we encourage KJ to have those conversations. We encourage him. He's learning how to drive now. So we're encouraging him and having those conversations about what to do if you know, get pulled over. Is KJ going to be able to drive, you know, in a couple of months? We don't know, but we at least, again, he's exposed. He's having those opportunities. We've told him before, we've even asked him, is driving something you want to do? And he said, yes, I want to learn how to drive. So, you know, in New Jersey, he can have his permit for up to 2 years. I said, we will continue to have your permit until you feel comfortable, you know, enough to drive. Again, making the decisions that we make, having him make those decisions, having him have some buy-in to what's going on in his life is really important to us. And you know, what we have to do as his parents is just explain him and explain it to him and explain it to him in a more common sense, just a very plain way. Sometimes that might involve us repeating it again, just so he has, he can understand it a little bit better. But that's the one thing that we are willing to do with him is we're willing to investigate. We're willing to be patient. We're willing to let him drive his own bus on his own time.
That's the best way of life. You sound like great parents. I know you are, because of the strides that he is making in his life. And you said that you teach autism, autistic children.
So when I decided to go, so back in 2011, I decided he hadn't gotten his formal diagnosis yet, but I had decided at that point in time that I wanted to become a stay-at-home mom. So my husband and I had worked and had planned 2 years in advance in order to make that happen. So I ended up leaving my corporate job to be a stay-at-home mom back in August of 2011. And Nita, I want to tell you that that was probably one of the best decisions that I could have made, because I was actually able to, give KJ the hands-on learning, teaching, parenting that he needed at that point in time. But it got to be when he transitioned back into our sending school district that I said, you know what? The kids are getting a little bit older. Let me get back into, the workforce, since I'm not needed as much. So in that, I said, well, the perfect thing to do is to work as a paraprofessional or as a teacher's aide in a school. I would have the same type of hours and the same type of schedule that my kids would have. It would be a little bit more easier and accommodating. So when I got hired by our school district, I got hired for a it's called a multiple disabled classroom, and I was the classroom aide. And again, that was my opportunity to get involved with kids on the spectrum, or kids who might have had some behavioral issues at a young age. So that was my foray into it. And then a year later, actually that same school year that I had started, I got asked to go into the autism classroom to assist or help out for 1 or 2 days or what have you. And through that, I want to say through the next year, I got really involved in autism. I got really about the, I got into the science of it, the science that they skills, and that was applied behavior analysis. I got more involved into that science and field, and started honing my skills. I became a registered behavior technician. And then I decided I wanted to take it a little bit further, and ended up going to grad school and just graduated this year with my degree in applied behavior analysis. And now I'm going to be a board certified behavior analyst in the next couple of weeks once I sit for my certification exam. So my son, it's funny, my son and his diagnosis have actually dictated my next career path, because not only do I want to be a face or a friendly face for those parents who are dealing with not dealing with, but may have challenges with their children with kids on the spectrum, but also so that I can be a face in school in schools as well, and help advocate for some of our children in school districts, just like we advocated for our son.
So autism didn't break you, but it made you. And it made you a great parent and my Shiro. And I'm so glad that you joined me here today and shared your story and your family's story with me on Shiro's Quest. I would love to have you back once KJ, because he's going to college. I would love to have you back when he gets into college. But it has been a pleasure to have you here and share your story.